me building my personal brand is not by accident. And, I'm often wary of people who act as if things just happened and they are products of good luck. I've been very intentional about the way I build my personal brand, the words that are associated with my personal brand, because I'm also very clear about what our offer is, who it is for, and what we want to get out of it. AI is not going to replace our jobs. It's not going to take over our businesses, but it's the people that know how to use AI that are going to. So we need to become those people. AI is your colleague. It is now your business partner. It is your co-collaborator and co-creator. If you are speaking the language of competition, you're stuck in 1990. You are stuck in 1990. The way of the future is collaboration. There are no more competitors. Looking smart, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I had a
good.
workshop. I've been told to change and rebrand.
I like the all black. It's very classic and dignified, and it's a lovely look, and it's timeless.
Thank you.
Because different colors come in and out of fashion, but I feel like all black is a classic look that you can't go wrong.
Now, if we have the thumbs up from you, then we are keeping this look. Hi, Hetty, how have you been, man?
Fantastic.
I am curious about so many things. When I hear your name, I think by now you are at a stage where, if anyone hears your name, the next thing they think about is money.
I think so. We're pretty much at that point.
But in your world, if I take you back, because today we're going to talk about just monetizing anything this tight economy, because now it's getting quite tight.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be, I think it's a season where more than any time before, people really do need to find a way to make some more money.
Yes.
Even if that extra 5%.
Yes,
whatever you can
makes
do.
a difference.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to that. But I'm curious as to how you build this brand. It seems quite artistically crafted.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Does it come across that way?
How does it? Because it sticks. It sticks. When we say Hetty the entrepreneur, people know monetization expert.
Yes.
I was told about you long before I met you.
Wow, that's amazing.
Hetty, that one, Wemali, that one.
You know what? It's one of those things that has been well curated, very intentional. Me building my personal brand is not by accident. And, I'm often wary of people who act as if things just happened and they are products of good luck. I've been very intentional about the way I build my personal brand, the words that are associated with my personal brand, because I'm also very clear about what our offer is, who it is for, and what we want to get out of it.
How do I get started? If I'm a young person and I ask you how you got started, were you as clear and intentional when you got started, or this is something that you got to build up on later?
Not necessarily as clear and intentional at the very beginning. I knew I wanted to be in the online space, yes. I knew that we could monetize in the online space, particularly my personal brand. I knew this because I've used the online space in the past before to build my product-based business. We used to have a business within African print fashion. And so as a result of that, we used Facebook. We went from 0 followers on Facebook to 500,000 followers selling African print clothing. And it was actually the result of Facebook that I was able to leave a corporate job within a merchant bank. And my husband was able to also leave his job in a senior position within one of the top 4 banks in South Africa.
None of you were scared. You didn't talk to each other and say, baby, are you sure about this?
We had those moments where like, hey, God does What do we really think we are doing here? But the numbers do not lie, Ndando. We looked at the numbers that were coming in. I often say to people, because they'll say, oh, I'm just a makeup artist, or I just sell hair, or I'm just a fashion designer. And I say to them, believe it or not, selling clothes allowed us to acquire our first 4 properties. We bought our first 4 investment properties through money from selling clothes. We were able to leave our corporate jobs where we were earning well, getting good bonuses, able to travel internationally at least once or twice a year. We were able to do that. We're able to become full-time entrepreneurs, keep the same salary, keep our medical aid through selling of clothes. So when people say those things to me, it makes me realize that it's not businesses that are small. It's our mindset that is small. It's not the business that is small. We started selling through the spare bedroom of our home. We stayed in a townhouse at the time. We converted our 2-bedroom townhouse. One of the bedrooms became our shop. And that's where we started selling, through the spare bedroom of our home. And when we pivoted out of the retail industry, we had 7 retail stores across South Africa at all of the major malls. And we also had our own factory.
Who taught you how to do this? Did it come, was it like innate talent for the two of you?
I would say it's an innate passion for entrepreneurship. But everything else is self-education and Ndando. None of us are born with a manual for life outside of the Bible. Outside of that, there is no manual. We take each step and we learn through each step. So first of all, we're like, okay, let's open a Facebook page. People don't know we exist. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't afford to have a physical store. Let's open an online store. All right, we can't afford a web designer. Google, how do I open an online store for free and set it up myself? Yeah. So these are some of the self-education that we put into place to actually then be able to grow our business. But these days, what I am finding is that people want things to be ready-made. And as a result, we are losing that tenacity, that eagerness, that naivety to go out there and to learn something different. The reason why small businesses have such a great competitive advantage is because the founder is generally very delusional. They have no idea of the struggles that are coming. And as a result, they are going in with a sense of excitement and curiosity. And that is what great businesses are built out of, especially in the beginning.
I have many questions that ran through my mind. First one, let's explain. When you say the founder is very delusional, explain that for me.
You have to be delusional to be an entrepreneur. You literally have got a concept and an idea in your mind that nobody else can see. You may not have the starting capital. You may not have a business plan. You don't even know how it's going to come to life. But in your mind, you are willing to spend every waking moment towards the pursuit of bringing this thing into life. If that's not Delulu, I don't know what is. And that is where the hallmark of genius comes from. Geniuses in their lifetime are delusional people. They are only hailed as geniuses when they have proved the concept. And then at the point of proving the concept, you get these copycats that come and say, oh, Ntando's done a podcast. Me too. I can do it. But they were not there when you couldn't book a guest. They were not there when you didn't have equipment. They were not there when all the other elements were not yet in place. It looks and appears to be easy, but the founder must be delusional in the beginning. And once they have proven the concept, it now becomes normalized.
Wow. This is becoming a masterclass already. I'm curious about this one thing though. Because the way you started and how you guys got successful back then is quite impressive by itself, right? Have you ever thought back and reflected to say, if we had started now, how would we have approached it differently? Now that there's AI and all this more powerful technology than what you had available to you then, what would you have done differently if you had started now than then?
There's so many things that I would have done differently. First of all, I love the fact that you're bringing up AI, because I think it's not even the way of the future, it's the way of now.
Yeah.
It's the way of now. As entrepreneurs, we cannot be afraid to say, oh, I don't like technology. Hey, I'm not technologically savvy. Those days are over. Whether you are technologically savvy or not, you have to actually have an interest in this thing.
Yeah.
AI is not going to replace our jobs. It's not going to take over our businesses. But it's the people that know how to use AI that are going to. So we need to become those people.
So how would you have started your business any differently? Do you see a difference between how you would have approached things?
I definitely see a difference. Content creation, first of all, is a lot easier.
That's a big one, yeah.
It's a big one. I mean, back then, I would just take my phone and I'll try and create small little bits of content here and there. Now, you can automatically create content. I no longer need to only rely on my own brain for thinking of concepts of content ideas. I can run an interesting prompt in AI and say, listen, this is the industry I'm in. I'm running short of content ideas. Give me ideas, hook me up with ideas. Then I can then go backwards and forwards with the AI, because AI is your colleague. It is now your business partner. It is your co-collaborator and co-creator. So you can go backwards and forwards with AI until you create something that is then unique to yourself. So it's not to say we're just taking what comes out generically out of AI, but you are leveraging that and then turning it into your own. So I would definitely do that. I would leverage more on the power of collaboration.
What do you mean?
So these days, you do not have to do things alone anymore. If we come together and we pool our brain power, our resources, our audience, whatever it is that we have that is to our benefit and strength, we are able to multiply our efforts.
True.
So collaboration for me is absolutely key. You can have product collaborators where you're able to bring different products together that serve a similar audience and that are able to complement each other. You can collaborate with things like events. You can collaborate with things like podcasts. You interview someone, the next time they interview you, you're shouting out on each other's posts, you're tagging each other, you're reposting each other, you are promoting each other's thing that you are coming out with, etc. That is collaboration. And so no man is on an island anymore. If you are speaking the language of competition, you're stuck in 1990. You are stuck in 1990. The way of the future is collaboration. There are no more competitors. There's no longer anything such as competitors. Banks are working together. Insurance companies are working together. These are typically industries where you find them being siloed on their own. And they're realizing, why should we? Why don't we find complementary elements that we can be able to meet together and form a synergy?
That shocked me. Hey, I've been to events where insurance companies and banks are sponsoring the event.
The same
together,
event.
The same event. And they're together, same stands within the same event. And I
100%. I was shocked. I went to an event. All 4 of the major banks were sponsors. In the past, you could only get one banking partner. You could only get one insurance partner. And you could never get 2 at the same time. It completely and utterly unheard of. But now, if your value proposition is strong enough, they recognize that this is a captive market. Let the best man win.
All right. So if we're looking at the country, the economy, where it's at now in Africa, you guys are traveled as well, and saying for people that are on a tight budget, for those that are employed, how do they think about earning that extra 5% or that extra 10%? And I know step number 1 is Google the name Hetty.
Yeah.
How do they pick it up from there?
No, it really does depend. Look, first and foremost, if you are in a job, in other words, you are a salaried individual, you are not as broke as you think you are.
Wow.
Try being an entrepreneur. Try being an entrepreneur. Because as long as you are earning an income, no matter how big or how small that income is, you are a human being that has money that is coming in guaranteed every single month. That is far better than the world's best entrepreneur who may be successful, but we don't know where the next income is coming from. So by being a salaried individual, you can use that sense of predictability to actually build and expand yourself from there onwards. You can look and say, which industry am I interested in? Where is my area of expertise where I can come in and add something of value into that space? Do I want to look at thought leadership? Do I want to look at training? Do I want to look at coaching? Do I want to look at maybe providing a service or a product? What does that product look like? Who's that product going to serve, etc.? So you can be able to leverage that. Also, when you are employed, you already have your circle of influence. You've already got your power team because you are already working in a space where you know somebody that's good in admin. You already know somebody that's good in HR. You already know somebody that's good in procurement. And you can actually then tap into an already existing power team through virtue of the fact that these are already your colleagues.
And I guess that the power of collaboration works well there, which also means don't be burning bridges with your co-workers.
Absolutely. Not only should you not burn bridges with your co-workers, they can also become your clients in future. So when I used to be in corporate, I used to be part of a big banking group. And now that same banking group is one of my clients.
Wow. If I'm looking at you and listening to you now, you're saying so many powerful things. How were you in high school?
Oh my goodness.
Compared to could we have found you then and listening to you and said, she's going somewhere?
I think that is such an interesting question. So I think that in high school, I was very much one of those people that was still kind of growing into myself. Still the same level of confidence that you are seeing right now, but maybe not necessarily sure of the path. I was definitely an entrepreneur. I already had a business when I was in high school.
Is it?
Yes. So my pocket money used to be 5 Rand. And so on my way to school, I would pass the petrol station and then I would buy sweets that I knew my classmates enjoyed. And I would use my whole 5 Rand, buy sweets, and in class, I would sell those sweets. And so by the time break time would come, I would have flipped my 5 Rand into 10 Rand. And I would now have more money to spend at the tuck shop.
Oh, and this was a daily thing for you?
This was a daily thing that I would do, to the point where people would place pre-orders for the next day.
Oh.
And then not only was I then selling to my classmates, then the classroom next door, they started placing orders. And then before long, I had to arrive at school early so that I would have people's pre-orders ready for. And I was getting it from the same petrol station everybody would walk past every day. But I saw business opportunity where others did not.
Isn't that what entrepreneurship is like? There is a lot of business opportunities out there that people do. But when you analyze it, it's not rocket science.
No, absolutely.
It's easy to do, but it seems everyone around the entrepreneur is not seeing the opportunity.
Also, it's easy to do, but it's easier to not do. It's easier to not do anything at all. It's easier to sit and observe. So the person that takes one step forward will always be leap years ahead of the observer. So it's easy to do, but it's so much easier to not do.
True. When you were doing the entrepreneurship in high school, selling the sweets, did you not get any discouragement, or did the school not stop you?
No.
They just allowed you to flourish?
They absolutely allowed me to actually continue, to the point where they were saying, okay, what else do I want to do? And what I realized is that the school newspaper had become dormant. There was nobody within the editing club, within the school newspaper. And so I resurrected it. I appointed myself the editor of the school newspaper. I resurrected it in high school. I appointed journalists to write articles, etc. And we produced the school newspaper.
Goodness. So you've come a long way with this.
Absolutely. And I think it also speaks to being in an environment that allows you to be curious.
Because they could have crushed you.
They could have crushed it. They could have been like, what are you doing? Or they could have put in so much red tape that then it would have clipped one's wings. So just giving that creative freedom, I think, is also very important. So it's the individual, but it's also the environment that is conducive to that individual thriving that's important.
Okay. And what about your parents? Did they know what you're doing at school?
They eventually found out when I came out with the first copy of the newspaper. I went home and I said, look at what I've done. And they're like, huh? You're the editor. What's going on here? And only they. So often at times I would just run with things. I would literally just run with things, and then they would find out afterwards. Even in the doubling of my pocket money, they heard about it from my cousin, not even from me, where I was narrating to her to say, no, I only get 5 Rand, but it's fine because some days I end up with 10 Rand, other days I end up with 15 Rand, etc. She's like, what? How are you doing that? And then I told her, she's like, she couldn't believe it.
And then if you're already that smart and doing these things, did you study anything to do or read books about entrepreneurship or business, or you continue just learning from doing?
From a young age, I really wasn't reading books that was linked to entrepreneurship, etc. I was just being open, aware, and having that sense of curiosity. And I think that is really what fueled me. It was only after I left high school and I was in university that I began to actually explore, attending business conferences, dabbling in network marketing, etc. That's where I began to get the knowledge about entrepreneurship, being exposed to books like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Then I began to say, okay, I'm not a crazy person. There are actually other people like this. Then it began to make me think also, I'm studying this course, I'm studying political science, I'm majoring in international relations. But what if I could actually just build my own business? What if I don't have to work for somebody? And just really studying, how are the rich making money? What is it that the rich have learned that poor people are simply struggling to grasp? That is what I became so zoomed in on and focused on, because I then began to realize that, wow, there are actually many ways to make money. I don't know about you, but I was taught within my home that you go to school, you get a degree or whatever certificate, you become certificated.
And then good job.
And then you go out and you get a job. And so for me, the only source of making money was through a job. I didn't know that there are so many other ways to actually make money. Now, my focus and my obsession is learning about how do I make money by simply being myself.
Explain that.
So now we are living in an era where the students that are in university today are studying for jobs that may be obsolete at the time that they enter into the job market. This is not something that is hard to fathom. If we think right now, there are certain jobs that we take for granted now that did not exist 10 years ago, 15 years ago. There are virtual assistants. There are executive assistants. There are social media managers. There are content creators. There are influencers. There are all of these various jobs that did not exist before. So we are living in a time where you can literally be paid to just be you and be putting your content out there. And by virtue of the fact that you are being yourself, you can get paid for brand endorsements, you can work on collaborations with others, and you can even just be paid from the number of views that people have just watching you living your
life.
Everyday life. That is where my obsession is now. Because if we say that money is an energy that flows, that means it should be able to follow me when I'm doing my day-to-day activities.
Where do you think people get it wrong though? Why are people afraid to take a chance on themselves? A lot of what you're talking about, I know, has to do with you educating yourself on a new skill or something that you're not familiar with. But what holds people back from getting online and being out there?
Gosh, there are so many different factors, and it is not as surface level as we think. It honestly goes really, really deep. So, for example, a lot of people have paralyzing fear. I go online and then what am I going to say? And what are people going to think? And how am I going to come across? And that alone is so debilitating that a person will sit down in paralysis. That alone. Then when we look at the different ways of making money, that in itself also is deeply embedded in our own relationship with money. If you did not see money coming easily into the household, we have already then been programmed that money is something that is hard to come by. You must struggle and sweat in order to get it. So it is therefore incomparable to issue an invoice where 95% of it is profit. You almost think to yourself, but how dare you? Of course I must reduce my price. I can't do that. But that is the value that has been placed on the thing that you are putting out. And so it's there is so much nuance when it comes to this.
I get you. And what you're saying won't make sense to someone until they really feel it practically. For me, what it looked like, there's a time the way I was training financial literacy for a corporate, and they were saying for 176 employees. So what's your rate? We want the book along with it. And I'm thinking, okay, if they're asking with this much confidence, looks like the boardroom looks like they can pay. Let me double my price. And I say 900 per person. But you know, when you say it, you say 900 per person, but we can talk about it. To say, maybe I've stretched, let me hear. And they look at me, they look at each other and say, is that all? It's like all inclusive. Even your book is in here. I could tell from that question that, it looks like I messed up.
Exactly.
And they said, we will take it up to 1.2. This was the out of sheer grace to say, we'll take it up to 1.2. And I'm saying, per person. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Then I asked later, after I've done the invoice, and they're telling me, our other guys that we were working with, they normally charge 3,000 per person.
My goodness. My goodness. But you see, often at times you only need to experience that once. For the message to sink in, for something to switch within your mindset. You see, one of the key things for our mindset to change is a lived experience. Now that you've had this particular lived experience, it's going to be difficult for you to undercharge. Because you now understand your value and what the potential is that is out there. I mean, I've had instances where I'll ask somebody for a quote and they send me the quote and automatically they've included a discount. For what? I did not ask for a discount. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. You know, and I want to pick up the phone and say, but why? What has qualified me to earn this discount? But just by virtue of the fact that there's potential business coming and you almost feel bad, as though you are not offering value and a service, you then discount your pricing.
This is a masterclass. Are you listening, Jen? I see them nodding good. This is some cool stuff. All right. So what's holding people back? You're saying it's much deeper. And sometimes you might need to work with someone like a coach or psychotherapist if that's what's needed. Have you been in environments where you were networking with people that developed you as a person or challenged you? Definitely.
Listen, I have got coaches myself. I have got mentors myself. I never want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be surrounded by people that will constantly challenge me, challenge the way that I think, challenge my outlook, challenge the way I show up and navigate within the world. I want to be around exponential people. So I do that deliberately. I go into spaces where people have a mindset that's completely different to mine, so that it can challenge the elasticity of my brain. We don't have to agree.
True.
You know, we're living in a time where we're almost afraid to disagree with people. We don't have to agree. It's okay to not agree with someone. What you want to do is to open yourself up to hearing differing views so that you understand their process of thinking. That is what it's about. So I'm always within the company of people that are better than me, more accomplished than me, further ahead than me, because it excites me in terms of what is possible.
Okay. And you started this when?
I have been doing this for several years now. I mean, even if I look at my own mentors, and I pay my mentors, by the way.
Is it?
I pay my mentors. Mentorship is not a CSI project, and I am not a charity case. I'm not a charity case. The minute you go holding out your hand, oh, please, can you mentor me? Hey, please, can I just pick your brain over a cup of coffee? You are already coming with the mindset of taking the little crumbs that are given to you or that drop onto the table. If you want to be an equal player at any table, you arrive there as an equal. So I pay my mentors. I pay them for their time. And that is why I have had the best mentors.
And I know, I've heard you say one was Vusi.
Yes.
And I guess there are a number of others.
Absolutely. Vusi Tembagwayo is one of my mentors. Ian Furr, the founder of the Sorbet Group, is one of my mentors. Robert Kiyosaki is one of my mentors. I could literally just go on and on.
Man, this is good. It's quite inspirational. All right, so if we're looking at business now, are you still in the business or you left it to do other things?
So our retail business, we're no longer in that particular business. We do still have a property portfolio. I don't think we'll ever stop investing in property. And we also have the business of Hetty, the entrepreneur.
Which one is a passion project for you? I guess, am I right to guess Hetty?
I would say yes, it is both a passion and a profit project, because I believe that passion and profit can be married together and coexist happily.
How so though? Because for many people, they are doing something they are passionate about. It's just not paying the bills. Some are even paying the bills.
Yes. No, I agree with you. So let me tell you something. When a person has a passion, the reason why it does not pay the bills is because they're not treating their passion as a business. The minute you are passionate about something and you love to do it, it's one of those things that you'd be willing to do it for free because you literally just enjoy doing that particular thing. But there is somebody who does not know how to do that thing or does not have the capacity to produce that thing, that is willing to part with their hard-earned money to receive it. But because it comes naturally to you, it becomes difficult to put a rand value onto that thing and therefore monetize it. The reason why people are unable to monetize their passion is because they're not treating it like a business. That is the difference between your cousin who can sing well in the shower and Whitney Houston. That's the difference, you know. It is taking the craft, that talent, and being able to commercialize it, package it into a commercially viable product.
Is that what you're helping people do?
That is what we help people do. That's what we help corporates do as well.
All right, let's talk about your programs, how you're helping people. So anyone who needs you out there knows this is why I need to look for you.
Gosh, there's so many different ways in which we work with entrepreneurs. Probably the best starting point, if a person is watching this and is an entrepreneur, is our mentorship club. We've got a club for entrepreneurs and where they're able to plug in and actually learn these insights that we are talking about. They get it through coaching, through myself and through other coaches that we work with, etc. We also work with corporate organizations that are looking to access entrepreneurs. We have got huge databases of entrepreneurs. We've got huge communities of entrepreneurs that we work with. And the sole function of what we do is helping you take your idea, your business, who you are, packaging it into a commercially viable product, which you can then monetize and make money from.
So this is any passion.
Any passion whatsoever. Look, it's not absolutely everything that can be monetized. So sometimes we have to go through stress testing and to say, in its unadulterated form, maybe we need to tweak it here and there in order for it to be commercially viable. So we do go through those processes as well.
Okay. I want this one. This one is going to be a hookup for all my social media guys that I've got a lot of people that I know that are on 40K followers, some 90K followers. And you know what they say? This is not money. It's just subscribers and followers. I don't know how to monetize this.
Listen, I started making money on Instagram. When I started building Hetty the Entrepreneur, I had 200 followers on Instagram. I started putting out knowledge for a good solid year. And then there afterwards, I decided now I'm going to start monetizing my community. At the time, I think I had about maybe 1,000, 1,500 followers.
You're monetizing at 1,000?
Yeah.
I need notes. Really notebook.
Let me tell you something. Monetization is not about the number of followers.
Yeah.
It is about the number of followers that you have that you can convert. If somebody has got 200 followers, but it is 200 followers that are following them for the right reasons. Let's say, for example, they are an accountant and they balance people's books. And of the 200 followers they have, they've got 150 entrepreneurs whose books need balancing. I can help them to monetize. Because they've got a captive audience. And 150 is no small joke. If you host an event and there are 150 people there, that's a successful
very
event.
good event.
If you get 150 new customers, that's a very good trading day. If you get 150 inquiries, that is very, very good. So it's not about the number of followers you have. It's about the quality of the followers and how convertible those followers are.
I get you. So do you think a part of that is maybe they're struggling to monetize because they don't have anything of relevance to offer in the marketplace?
Most people do have something of relevance to offer. They just don't know what that thing is.
Nice way to put it.
They don't know what that thing. So you need to be able to determine what is it that I am offering to my audience that my audience needs.
Is it something you think about when you're starting before the following grows, or even at a later stage you could always start? Because I'm asking because I've noticed some at a later stage, maybe they have 300K followers, and then they start talking about something that they're going to sell, and it's divorced from the content they've been sharing. It's like, we know you as this person, but now you're coming with this entrepreneurship thing and you're talking a different language. We don't like you anymore, and they start losing followers. And that, I think, for someone who has a lot of followers, when they see the number drop, it scares them, and they think, you know what, maybe let me leave this thing back to my jokes. I'm back good people.
Yes. No, so often at times that happens when people don't understand why their audience is following them.
Yeah.
So you need to understand, if you're a comedian, your audience is following you because you are funny. You cannot now want to come and give us a course or try and sell us a masterclass unless it is a masterclass on how to grow on social media through comedy. Because then you have got your proof of concept is already there. You are a living, breathing example of your success story. So often at times people don't know why people are following them, and that is when they come out with products that are completely uncorrelated to what people are following them for. So it's very important for you to understand, why is my audience following me? What do they want from me? And how do I give it to them in a way that I can monetize it? So if you're doing skits and people find you funny, having a comedy show would be great.
True.
Having a night where people can come spend the evening with you and laugh would be great. And if that's successful, do it at the next city. And if that's successful, do it at the next city. And if that's successful, try and do a tour.
We're monetizing now.
Now you are monetizing. But if you are you're doing skits successfully, and now you want to be a life coach, or you're selling Herbalife, like, what is this?
So
that is a clear example of a person who does not know who they are, what their value proposition is, why people are following them, and how they can serve them better.
The things that you're talking about have to do with a bit of business acumen. Do you think someone like that would benefit from then attending business events and networking events?
100%. 100%. And also going there with a clear intention and purpose. I'm noticing we are living in an era of professional event attenders.
Yeah.
Where people are just attending events to take pictures with the speakers, to create a reel and all of that. And what have you taken from the event that you are going to implement? I am booked to speak at a lot of events. I'm a keynote speaker at high top brow events. And I say to people, if you are not going to implement what I am teaching you on the stage, don't come and ask me for a picture. Because what is the point? What are we doing here? Do you get what I mean? If you are going to attend an event, have a sense of purpose for why you are going to the event. And that is going to then help you to grow from event to event, from networking session to networking session.
Wow, this has been an interesting one. So if I am to ask you, what can we look forward to in 2025, 2026, 2027, what exciting things are coming?
Oh my gosh, there's so many exciting things, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head, what can I share with you? First and foremost, for those individuals that are following me, what you are going to notice is that I'm doing a lot more of closed events and sessions for our inner core community. These are the people that have made a decision that they actually want to do something with their businesses. Those are people that are part of the mentorship club. It's a small subscription fee that they pay for, and then they are able to get access to me. I've realized that sometimes when we do a lot of these free things, we end up being there for the fluff. I am now ready to work with those people who are serious. If a person watches me and they see a part of themselves in me, whether it's in my drive, whether it's in the fact that I am not a celebrity, but I'm monetizing more than some of your faves.
Yep.
So if you see something in me that makes you think, I want some of that, that's where you need to then plug into. We are now at a time and an era where you do not need to wait for employment. You don't need to wait for someone to bet on you or to believe in you. If you can just believe in yourself a little bit, you can be able to monetize.
Wow, this has been good, Hetty. Thank you. I'll ask you one more question. Promise,
Yes.
last question. I was listening to you speak just now, and this just rang in my mind. How do I build the kind of confidence that you seem to have?
First and foremost, if you want to build your confidence, you need to be intentional about building your confidence. People like myself do not come by accident. We intentionally manufacture who we are.
Hey, man.
I'm telling you. We really do. There is a level of intentionality. For example, let me tell you how intentional I am. I made a decision at a point to say, I'm going to use my voice to invoice. People are going to, I enjoy talking and I enjoy sharing my knowledge. People are going to pay to hear me share my knowledge. Therefore, I became intentional about my voice projection. I became intentional about how I articulate myself. I became intentional about elocution. I became intentional about getting a speaking coach. I became intentional about sending my videos to my board of advisors to say, please critique me. How can I do better? Is it my posture? Is it my, my eye contact? Is it my gesticulation? How am I coming across on video? So that at every single event I speak at, I am better and better and better. And the better I become, the more I am able to charge. If you know that you have a confidence problem, or you have a confidence challenge, or you want to increase your confidence, be intentional about it. Be intentional. Look at the habits of the most confident people that you know and begin to emulate those habits until it becomes second nature to you.
And I'm listening to you now and I think this is going to feel like therapy for someone. But thank you so much, Hetty.
Thank you, Ndando. Thank you so much. And you know what? Let me actually take this opportunity to say how incredibly proud I am of you.
Wow.
This podcast, the work that you are doing, the consistency, your perseverance, the way that you take yourself seriously. Honestly speaking, I mean, I've experienced it myself. Those who are on the other side of the lens may not have had the privilege of experiencing it. And I think that for me, that those are the tenets of highly successful people. So in as much as you may sit on the other chair interviewing others, I think it's good for people to know what a great caliber of person that you are as well.
I appreciate you very much.